What's up guys, how are you guys doing? I hope all of you guys are doing great. For today's video I will be talking about like in this day and age, we the youth, or the youth in general, have been dealing with many issues, and it's like we don't have someone to like talk to, or maybe if they're there, then we're not given that much not given that much, what do you call it, that much attention, not given that much attention, or rather we are not given an ear, or someone, we don't have that person, someone to like listen to us, or at least help guide us here and there. So you'll find that in this day and age, so many youths tend to like suffer from depression, anxiety, and with all that we are all facing, that's why you tend to see that there's so many that are now getting into substance abuse. So there's so many people who are into drinking and doing all these hard drugs, maybe just because they might be going through something and there's no one to help them. Maybe there's no one to give them an ear or a shoulder to lean on. Maybe they are going through difficult times and we know nothing about it. Maybe even the society knows nothing, and then yet when they see the person doing certain kinds of things, then they are judged or criticized. Someone will be like, nah, this the daughter of so and so that is normal like this because of, maybe, I don't know, that they've joined bad groups or something like that. But the reality is, if we look around us, the youth are people who tend to suffer most, because we have no one to talk to. The only person you can maybe talk to is maybe your friends and so on, but you won't get really what you want. But that's how it has been. And then let me say, like for example, we, like growing up, like the youth, they are more like, as growing up as a youth, there's so many things that affect them, or this, like even in school around them, there's so many things that do affect them. Youth tend to suffer from things like peer pressure. They tend to suffer from peer pressure, depression, um, trauma, violence, all these things. You'll find that someone else is suffering from it, but they've not like open up or come and like maybe open up to someone or told them that I have a problem like this and this is bothering me, or maybe I had a misunderstanding with maybe one of my relatives and I don't know how to handle it. Or it's just there's so much going on, because even though you try and talk to someone, people will either be like, they'll listen and they won't really comment. Like I can give an example, like maybe there's something that you are dealing with, or something that is really depressing you, and you feel like you would want someone to talk to, someone like maybe your family member, or I don't know, someone really close to you to talk to you. But there's this thing like, once you open up to someone and then you're let down, or for example, maybe whatever you told them will also go around. You find that maybe your aunties, your uncles, your aunties' friends get to know about it, and it was something really personal, and then yet because you really trusted someone, and then they go on spreading the news, or rather, because there's no, with, I also do the, like with some families, there's also no such thing as confidentiality. And I'm sorry about the background noise, guys. So there's nothing, things like confidentiality and such things really don't come up. And then there are these families whereby they will say that anything to do with anyone, like any member of the family, has to be discussed as a family. Like for example, if let me give an example. Like for example, if I want to start up my own business, there are these families that will tend to say that yes, such things should be discussed as a family. So imagine getting all your aunties, all your uncles, just to come and hear you give them your idea of what kind of business you're going to do. And remember, deep down in this, as you're telling them, most of them won't really agree with you. There's so many people that will really discourage you, like, no, you're a failure, no, this won't work out, you're like this, you're like that. So you see, sometimes it's very hard to also get to talk to people like this, because you already know how your family members are. And yeah, so it's just things that people tend to deal with are really hard sometimes. And like for some people, they really don't know how to go about it. You can find someone is really depressed, and the only thing that he can think, or he or she can think of at that point, is maybe go for drink some alcohol in order to forget your problems. And then, I don't know, forget your problems at that time. Others can decide to go uh, smoke weed, at least to get high and forget about those things. But the thing is, what is the right thing to do? For example, if you are dealing with such things, you know, most of the times your family members might be like, you need to see a counselor, but also counselors are, you know, you also need to go see a counselor, and sometimes people are busy doubting here and there, should I not? And other people, by the other people tend to feel like, yes, they can deal with their own problems on their own. Fine, if you think you can deal with it on your own, but it's okay. But remember, a problem shared is half solved. So whenever you're dealing with something, try figure out who is it that I'm really close to. Who am I close to in the family? Who do I really trust, like in my whole life? Because you can just go have a conversation with them, talk to them, open up to them, so that they'll be able to help you. You know, there's so many things that you always deal with, and you're not alone. And then there's this thing, like for example, you're in a family and you try do anything. You try, maybe you want to express yourself, or you want to maybe tell them that for this time there's this school trip we want to go to, we're going to do ABCD, and maybe anything that you want to talk to. But then you might find out that you'll come talk to, like you talk to your family members, and you're given a deaf ear. Like you're trying to explain yourself, people will just give you the look as if they're listening. At the end of the day, no one says anything, no comments, nothing. Or sometimes you want some things that you think is right to be done, and in the process you'll be just, yeah, you might want something to be done for you and all that, but remember, everything of yours you're saying is always shut down. And you might be doing a project, like in my school, all the schools I go to, you're normally given like assignments to do. So remember, with assignments you're given like, I think like around three. You have like the first one, you go carry out your research, work on them, bring it. The second is the same thing. So you find like, if you are doing the same thing, like something to do with school, because I've really experienced this. So you're doing something, okay, it's something to do with school, right? So you go, you hand in this first one, you give in the second one. And then I remember I could come, because okay, at that time you're in your high school, or or even in college, and then you're not working, so you need some extra transport from your family members or your guardian at that time. So imagine me going, because I remember that time I was doing my research, and you know, with research you have to go back and forth, so they correct you and so on. So remember, you can be doing the same thing as you go ask for transport to go back to school, and then someone can decide to say, no, you know, whatever assignments are supposed to be done once, what's this thing that you're doing every single day, which means you have failed. And then they keep on saying that you're a failure. So imagine someone keeps on saying you are a failure all the time. You about you, them, they just call you a failure. How does that make you feel? Because for me, if every time I keep on going to someone and all this do or tell me that I'm a failure, of course I'll be hurt. And I remember, okay, yeah, always being called a failure will also start using that same word that a person has said, or whatever they've said to you, really has a big impact on your life. Yeah, so the moment you're always being called a failure, you know, all the time, then you start to, okay, start accepting you. Maybe you'll be like, okay, whatever I do, I'm already known as a failure. And you also start believing that you are a failure. But the thing is, the more you keep on doing that and accepting that you are a failure, then you will fail. So like in the process of doing that, you feel like sometimes you want to explain things, and then people are just like, no, you're wrong, don't do this, don't do that. Or you can say that you want to start a project, you want to do this, and people are just like, no. And then, you know, like in some families, there's this thing whereby whatever your parents say, or your guardian at that time, whatever they say, you just have to quick stand up and go follow them, without, and then they don't really put into consideration how you feel about it. Like someone can come in the morning, like for example, let me give an example, maybe let me say if I'm staying with my auntie or something, and then they wake you up very at 6 a.m. in the morning, like, you know, Bella, get up, we're going. Then you ask them, where am I going? They'll just tell you that, stop being disrespectful, just follow my command. If I say we are going, we are going. And then remember, this time you don't know where you're going, and are you going to eat, you really don't know. So even though you try, sometimes you'll be tired with these movements, and if you try and refuse it at that time, so processing that you're a spoiled girl, you're rebellious, you're like this, you're like that, you know, not being given the chance to really express yourself about how you feel about these movements, or how you feel about the certain project that maybe your relative would want to start. So they don't really care about how we feel. So imagine if someone doesn't really care about how you feel. This is why it makes most of the youth nowadays have this thing, like, or saying, or this, they start asking themselves this question: do they really care about my feelings? Do they really care about me? You know, imagine asking yourself, do people really care about my feelings? Yeah, so because most of the time you keep on doing things that you think is right and people don't really care, or you want to say something, you always shut down. You want to do you want to do this, everything is always shut down for you. You want to, maybe even you're not even given the ear. So it makes you feel like you're not wanted. It makes you feel like, okay, yes, it makes you feel like you're a failure. It makes you feel like you're not wanted. It makes you feel like you don't even have a voice. It makes, because most, like, for example, the reason why I'm saying it makes you feel like you don't have a voice, because every single time you try and express yourself and tell them, I feel bad if this is done this way, or I feel bad that whenever I try to explain myself, no one tends to like listen to me. So people start laughing at you. No, what do you mean no one listens to you? We always listen to you, but in reality they don't. You do certain things and everything of yours is just shattered. And then the moment you ask them, do I really have a say in this? Do people really care about my feelings? Do I really matter to you? Because if I really mattered to someone, they would put into consideration how I feel about certain things. They would even ask me, Bella, are you okay if we continue doing, maybe going up, doing this everyday routine, or working on the project, and leaving the house at 6 a.m. and coming back at this time? How do you feel about it? At least let me know what I'm going to do. Because the moment someone doesn't let me know what I'm doing, and every time it's like I'm being forced to do something most of the time, and every time you try and say this and that, you're just told, no, you're wrong, just follow what I say. As like, if I command you, that what you're supposed to follow my command. So the thing is like, I just have to follow your command, and I really don't understand what's going on. So it also sometimes, because I know there's so many people who are dealing with such problems and they don't really know how to handle it. And I know that there's some people who have been through a lot, and because each and everyone has their own problems. So I know that there are some people that are dealing with so much stress, so much depression, and so on, and normally feel like they are not worthy. They're not feel as if they're not wanted. But the thing is, yes, you are wanted. Even though your parents keep on saying negative things or doing things that just piss you off sometimes, and you feel like you don't have a voice, you're not wanted, just know that you are wanted, and you were brought into this world for a purpose. Each and every person of us has a purpose to fulfill in life. So whatever person, even though they're being negative upon you, they're doing all sorts of things, just always remain positive. And whenever this question comes across your mind, like, do I really matter? Am I worthy to live, or is it worth for me to continue staying here? Or, because I remember, like, most of the times when people are depressed, they tend to have this feeling like, I think things would have been better if I did not exist. Having that feeling, or thinking that things would have been better if you don't exist, is really, that's like you're poisoning your mind at the moment. Because by the time you start thinking of that, then you start having so many negative thoughts, and that is why there's so many people who are losing their lives nowadays. So please, if you're dealing with depression, please go and look for someone to talk to. There are many counselors all over, even on the internet. You'll find that there's so many people who are ready to help you. And the thing is, yes, you do matter, and we all really care. I don't know, because I'm not there, but I also do care for people. I love people, and I wouldn't want people to, me, this kind of person who really loves seeing people happy, and whenever someone is sad or depressed, it really hurts me as well. So I know there's so many people out there, and you feel like there's no hope, but there is always light at the end of the tunnel. No matter what situation you're going through, just know that no situation is permanent. Everything is going to be changed, because right now things might be bad at the moment, but you never know. Even in a few days, in a few weeks, a few months, or years, things would change completely. Everything is going to be okay. Never ever doubt yourself, and whenever you start having these negative thoughts like, no, I'm not worthy, or do I really matter? The thing is, yes, you do matter, and you are worth, don't this thing of like saying that things would be better if wasn't around, is just your thinking. You're thinking in a negative way. Just always be positive about things, and never ever let someone bring you down. If you're going through a lot, please, there's so many people who are willing to help, and if I can help in any way, I would also do my best as well. So please keep on checking on your friends all the time, and remain positive. Even though they're being depressed at the moment, just tell them everything is going to be okay. No situation is permanent, and let's continue sharing with each other. Please, let's just take care of each and everyone. Don't be this kind of a friend or person who will not bother checking on other people, and at the end of the day when someone else, maybe you never know, one of your friends is dealing with depression and you don't really care, you're not bothering to text them, and the next thing you hear that they've taken their life, and you'll feel very sad. So do the things that you want others to do to you. So if you're someone who's loving, show your friends love, always visit them and always support them. And about the negative thinking, please, you should try your best to ignore such thinking, and always do your best, no matter, even though someone is discouraging you in everything you're doing, if that is really what you want, go for it, even though they're all negative about the project you want to start or your friends. And as long as you know what your intentions are, and if they're good intentions, go for it. And if it's something you really love and you want to do, please go for it, and don't let anyone bring you down. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I really love you guys. For the new subscribers, you guys, welcome to the channel, and let's us all journey together. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.